1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey, guys. I'm James Hake of the Hake Report, and this is Tuesday, July 30th, 2019, last 2 days of White History Month for this year. And you can call in with your White History contributions and stories, 888-775-3773. Appreciate you guys calling in or just talking about whatever you want to talk about. But I do have a couple of stories for you and a little bit more of my white history. You know, I've been calling people snakes in the grass and proven right by, in one case at least. But some people are referring to me as Snake the Hake or Hake the Snake. And it brings back memories because in high school, I wrestled freshman year. And my cross-country coach, because I'm mainly like a runner, referred to me as James the Snake Hake. So I'm not insulted when you guys call me a snake. And then another skinny cross-country runner, his name was Kwong Mac, and he was nicknamed Kwong the Mac Truck. But he's a liberal now, so he's no Mac Truck. And I have a beta back, so I guess when you call me snake, it refers more to what you think I'm dishonest or something. Which I guess every angry person, every person with anger, like Jesse always says, cannot be trusted. So I don't necessarily dispute what you guys are saying. By the way, I fell down on the job today reading the news, not just in the way that you guys think, but also because Men's Forum is this week. The Men's Forum, monthly Men's Forum at Bond, rebuildingtheman.com/events. Men's Forum is this Thursday, first Thursday of the month, this Thursday, August 1st, 7 p.m. Pacific time at Bond in Los Angeles. Not recorded. It's private. We don't share what goes on in the men's forums, and the ladies don't share what goes on in the women's forums, because we respect each other's personal business. And if you talk about it afterwards, you're banned for life. But I want to talk about this well-known Christian author, purity advocate, who renounces his faith. I got this alert from Fox News yesterday. I hope you can forgive me, he says. And then I will get to the calls. But I have this headline. It's one of the earlier headlines that you'll see. And there's like some Instagram posts, Joel. I gave him a bunch of ridiculous number of screenshots of other stuff. But this former pastor, no, not The Hill, the Fox News. You'll come across it, whatever. This former pastor of Covenant Life Church in Gaithersburg, Maryland, Joshua Harris, a short time after announcing the end of his marriage, is now saying goodbye to his faith as well. In an Instagram post, Harris revealed that he is stepping back from his faith and no longer considers himself a Christian. He's a former pastor. In this post, he recounted several things he apologized for in the past, specifically apologizing for his previously held views on the LGBTQ community. Talk about white weakness, white Christian weakness. This man is the author of this book called I Kissed Dating Goodbye, and you see the cover on it in the headline that we showed. I Kissed Dating Goodbye, which is a book that I never got into. I don't understand it. I don't understand the title, but I was not that kind of Christian. That was more like trendy Christian stuff. So he was a trendy Christian. He was the author of the bestseller I Kissed Dating Goodbye, a book he authored in 1997. That was when I was a sophomore in high school, too. That he later renounced after shaping purity culture. Purity means don't have sex before marriage. Jesse's bringing that back, only it's the real kind. And so a lot of people are stopping having sex before marriage, and they're seeing the wisdom behind it. But this guy regrets participating in that. For many millennial believers, revealed that he is stepping back from his faith. Oh, yeah, I said that. So he posted on Instagram. Oh, yeah, he did say this. Hold on. In an Instagram post, he apologized. This is pathetic. We have the Instagram post, right? He's like looking out. It's a beautiful view. So he believes in nature now. He says, quote, "This week I've received grace from Christians, atheists, evangelicals, ex-evangelicals, meaning ex-evangelicals, straight people, LGBTQ people, and everyone in between." Of course, he has more. He has like the words there. "There have been strong words of rebuke from religious people. While not always pleasant, I know that they are seeking to love me. There have also been spiteful, hateful comments that angered and hurt me." I don't know how this guy thinks like that, because he's like been a public figure. So how does he get angered and hurt still from people talking? "I have lived in repentance for the last several years, repenting of my self-righteousness, my fear-based approach to life, the teaching of my books, my views on women in the church, and my approach to parenting, to name a few. But I specifically want to add to this list now to the LGBTQ plus community. I want to say that I am sorry for the views that I taught in my books and as a pastor regarding sexuality. I regret standing against marriage equality." So he's turned into NPC. "For not affirming you and your place in the church, and for any ways that my writing and speaking have contributed to a culture of exclusion and bigotry. I hope you can forgive me." So it's just another example of the white weakness that is infecting so many people. At first, it was the Christians or conservatives, and they hate the gays, which a lot of them do, because they don't have real love. But now they've gone the opposite extreme to accepting evil, pretending that that's love now. So dumb. Anyways, let me get to Richard out of Georgia. Richard, how are you?
How's it going, sir?
Hey, nice to hear from you.
Okay, well, nice to hear from you. You kind of become like a celebrity in my eyes. Like, I'm constantly watching and becoming a great fan. But I don't know. I won't lie, I am technically registered as a Democrat, but, like, watching your show and Mr. Peterson's show, I started to realize, okay, I've been pretty beta in the past,
Yeah.
and, but, okay, all that aside, it seems like, well, I still feel like socioeconomic plans could help out Americans, because, honestly, right now, the only people who are benefiting are, like, bankers and corporations who are making billions of dollars. They're constantly getting tax breaks. They're not paying any taxes at all. And pretty much like the middle class and below have to carry all the weight. And I feel like it would be a better thing for America as a whole for people like working class people to actually have those tax breaks that the rich people are getting. Because to me, it just seems kind of backward. Like, the people that don't need anything are the ones that's getting everything.
I don't know that what you're saying.
But
Hey, man, I think that you're being fed something that isn't true, because people say that, but I don't know how true everything that you just said is. I don't know that the middle class and the poor, it's definitely not the poor. I don't know that the middle class is carrying most of the tax burden. I don't know that that's true. And I don't know that all these corporations, I know they get some, on certain types of taxes, they don't pay any taxes, but on other types of taxes, they pay a lot. And I'm not defending them, because a lot of these people are liberals, and there's a lot of corruption all up and down society. But I don't really think that what you're saying is completely true. I don't think you've been told the truth about that. It sounds like you're repeating lines from Democrats.
What I've been told is just from what I have seen just on my surroundings, in the sense that, well, yes, I do believe that, let's say, the far left have been in some very sneaky manner been just taking over, everything, like from the school system
Yeah.
to politics to everything. And like, yeah, like that's why I feel like I'm leaning more into like a conservative ideology now, even though I'm technically registered as a Democrat, just because I don't agree with all this nonsense that they are for. But at the same time, I do feel like the people, well, even from the founding fathers, I feel like the ideals were in place for people to have the hand up, not necessarily a hand out when a welfare state, but having people that can, pay their bills, that can do something, to have that tax break so that they can get into the economy and have some competition. And like I feel like it'll help out everybody if the working class people have that hand up instead of the bankers, the politicians that keep on getting these.
Yeah,
I call them bribes.
there's. I'll admit, hey, I'll
But-
admit that there's some truth to that. That, like, for example, you mentioned the politicians. These politicians are making a career out of being politicians. They're getting quite wealthy, and a whole lot of, there's all kinds of ways to make money when you're famous, right?
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of people who, quote unquote, love you, as well as the people that hate you. So people like Maxine Waters can do who knows what to get real rich. Beyond just the hundreds of thousands of dollars that these people earn over the course of their terms, and they serve multiple terms. And so I can agree on that, and I can agree that there is a lot of corruption amongst more and more, actually, because society and families are becoming more degenerate and corrupt and less moral, less ethical, blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't mean that that the founding fathers definitely wanted people to get even a hand up, because, maybe okay, I don't know, but I don't see that they really even wanted all these taxes,
No,
and they
I'm
didn't.
not saying like they thought like, okay, we need to create a country for the welfare state that can make everybody rich and just start giving out money. I'm not saying that. I don't think that way. I'm just saying that the people who have the most are constantly just get like.
Let me tell you.
Let's look at Occupy Wall Street when Obama was president.
Uh-huh.
Like we gave billions, if not trillions of dollars to these bankers who.
Yeah.
Like basically, if a regular person did this stuff,
That was
they would have been put in prison for fraud.
That was under
But
Bush. That was under Bush and Obama. Yeah.
We just gave it to them.
Yeah, under Bush and Obama, we bailed out, we being the American taxpayers, against our own wishes. They bailed out these banks and all that stuff. That's true. We shouldn't have done that. But look, there's this saying that Jesus said in the Bible, to him who has, more will be given. And to him who does not have, even what he has will be taken in front of him. And that means that you see that it's basically a description of common sense. Like, look at Jesse's subscribers. He has 200,000 something, right? Subscribers. And so he's going to gain a lot more every day because he has so much publicity. Whereas I have on the Hake channels, I have like 3,000 or so, or 4,000, close to 5,000. And so I'm not going to be gaining by as much as he's going to be gaining. But that doesn't mean that I should be gaining all those followers that he's gaining, because that's just how life works. To him who has, more will be given. To him who has less, he'll be getting some, but less. And then to him who doesn't have, even what he has will be taken from him. And so that just shows you that these people, whether they're corrupt or not, these richer people, or, the people in the limelight, they are able to take advantage of these physical realities of, getting more money. And that's just a reality of life. And I don't like the government getting involved in it. I don't like the corruption that is involved in these people making more money off of corrupt stuff. There's a whole lot of ill-gotten gain. They use illegal aliens to make money. They use them, for example, I've mentioned this before, the number of pupils in a school of kids who go to a school, whether they're illegal aliens or not, that school will get more money per head. So they're making money, these schools and all that stuff are making more money, corrupt money, off of illegal alien kids going to schools. And the American taxpayers are paying for it. And so there's a whole lot of corruption in the government and outside the government and amongst all levels, from the poor to the rich. But you gotta just, I really agree with what Jesse says. There's a whole lot of, when you help somebody, you're not actually helping them, you're hurting them, because you steal their sense of independence, their sense of urgency, their growth, their opportunity to learn and take care of themselves and work hard and struggle through it and grow as a person. And there are stories where, I don't remember if it was Costa Rica or Puerto Rico or somewhere, where these people, they lost something that they were getting regularly. And some people, including like women, started their own business and became very successful because of those hard times. So we need like those hard times to make us better. And people say, I want a hand up, not a handout, but in reality, they're asking for a handout. And they say, I don't want, what they're really saying is, I don't want too much, but I want a little. But that little can kill a lot of self-drive, because we're not very disciplined as human beings. I say I include myself in this because I'm not very disciplined, but a lot of us are not disciplined and not doing our best, doing what we can to make it. And when we're spoiled in America on the whole, maybe everybody in America is spoiled in a sense. We have it pretty easy. I mean, yes, it's harder because our money is worth less, and they've devalued our money, devalued our labor by bringing in all kinds of cheap labor and printing money and all that crap. But it's still pretty easy. We still have it pretty easy.
I mean,
and
but
so,
at the same time, like the way things are right now, it creates, like, at least in my opinion, a bottleneck that the same people that have been making money for hundreds of years, the same corporations that have been doing that thing, are constantly, and nothing's going to change for them. And if we really believe in free trade and competition, and that coercive monopolies shouldn't exist, then we should we should have something in place. Something, I don't know what it is, but something in place so that other people can also be able to compete in the same arenas as the other people are. Like, if we really think about it, I mean, look at Facebook.
yeah.
Like, they had a big role in the election, and they got a slap on their wrist, even though, like, people going to argue this or that in different directions. But, like, it's too many corporations, especially tech companies today. They have too much control over everything, and, like, nobody wants to say anything. Nobody wants to. It's nothing happening so that these people are just making that money hand over fist, and they're just slowly just taking over everything. And, like, well, you do not have a voice if you don't want to play ball with them, and that is bad. Like, we should not allow something like that to happen. We should have, like, okay, if this person don't want, let's say, conservative views on their platform, well, we should be able to have another platform for other people to be able to grow and still be able to spread the ideas without saying, well, this is the only thing that's out. It's the only thing that we, like, you're just on your head to this one company, and it's not good for everybody. It's hurting people, really.
Yeah, man. Hey, I think that I tend to kind of agree with a lot of what you're saying, but it's kind of, that book Might is Right that was referenced by that shooter. That's how a lot of people live, where they don't believe in morality. And I think that for one, don't be jealous of these people and these companies, which I don't know if you are or not. For two, like, worry about yourself, and we need to figure out ways to overcome this stuff, because it doesn't matter if we institute government policies to make these people do the right thing, because their hearts are evil. Most people's hearts are so evil now, and it's becoming more and more corrupt in America. But that is changing thanks to Trump, thanks to Jesse, thanks to you guys who are waking up from the corruption and coming out of it. And you guys are some of you guys are becoming very, like, powerful, in that you're self-controlled now, you're living better, you can think for yourself, and you're setting an example that's helping to wake other people up. And that's going to be more powerful than these platforms that totally favor the liberals. You know, all the social media platforms favor liberalism. They think conservatism is hate. They think Christians are hateful. They think anything white is hate. And they think men are hateful and rapists and stuff like that. So it's just anti-white, anti-Christian, anti-conservative, anti-American, anti-men.
Anti-male.
Yeah, and you know, they're against anybody that's an independent thinker. Even the liberals who are more independent, they're getting shut down too, because it's just all a mess. But if we continue to wake up and improve ourselves, then that's going to be more powerful to the culture than any of that, because Trump doesn't run a social media organization. He doesn't run a media organization, but he's a powerful man who's awake, arguably, and he's changing the culture. He's setting an example, and there's a whole lot of, it's really a movement that he's a part of, because there's a whole lot of people on the same page with him. And there's some disagreement, but there is a whole awakening happening that's going to be the cultural change is more important.
In the past, like, I've been clearly lied to, because in the beginning, I forgot what name I wrote in for president, because I didn't vote for Hillary or Trump.
Uh-huh.
Just because, like, I did feel like she was kind of crooked, and I didn't feel like Trump was the ideal president.
Yeah.
And from everything people was, like, spouting out about Trump, like just doing a tiny bit of research, like, well, hold on, like, it's one thing, but at the same time, like, no, like, you know, like, the whole grandma by the vagina type thing.
Right.
Like, oh, that was, like, somebody was just, like, this guy was having a conversation with a group of men, and he was just talking about how great it is to be famous.
Right.
And, like, I am, by all means, I'm not rich or famous or anything. Similar conversations with guys the exact same way.
Yep.
And just because that kind of sounds bad, you can use that against you.
Yep.
I feel like like these small, simple things have been used as a political tool to kind of fool people.
Yeah.
And, like, even though I disagree with a lot of what he says, if things don't change, it seems like we kind of have to have somebody who just would stand by their ideals, their beliefs, and they're not like another politician. They're not in the pockets of some corporation. They're not, they're not going along to get along. They're just doing what they believe in. And even though I don't agree with Trump for a lot, I can respect him, because
right on.
I feel like he's doing what he thinks is right, and I can still respect that.
Are you going to vote for him in 2020?
Like I said, I'm technically registered as a Democrat, and I don't. I mean, I don't know if you've seen these debates and these. Like, I don't know if they.
Is there any Democrat that you like better than him?
I mean, if you from how I've been speaking, I'm guessing you could tell. Like I'm kind of leaning toward Bernie. Like I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but I feel like he probably can bring up the country.
Here's my take on Bernie. Bernie has been in office for 30 years or more, and I suspect that he's an atheist, and he is a socialist, and that is hand out. That's not a hand up. He's a socialist, and I don't like how he kissed up to Black Lives Matter last time, and I don't like how when there was an incident up in Seattle somewhere at a rally during the primaries where some Black Lives Matter girls were shouting and stuff, and he allowed them on stage and to take the mic from him and talk with their Black Lives Matter mess. That just showed to me that he's weak.
Like I said, like it's a lot. I don't agree with Bernie, but at the same time, I do believe in like social economic policies, and he's been pretty consistent with his ideas.
He may have been. Hey, listen to this. He may have been.
I don't like a lot of that nonsense that then with Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Like they should change the name to like white people stop killing black people. They don't really care about
True.
black people. They don't really care about raising black people up out of the issues that's going on in the communities they live in. They it's been so much happening that the media will lie to you. You have to just take a step back and look at things objectively for yourself because.
So let me tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing. I've kept you on a long time, and I want to get to my other callers, but I like this call. But let me just tell you, Bernie's not going to get the nomination. So is there any other? Are you going to vote for Trump?
If Bernie don't get it, I might.
All right. What's last? I'm giving you a minute. What's one thing that you disagree with Trump about? The main thing, or first thing that comes to mind when I say that?
He doesn't back down to anybody, but at the same time, he don't want to make any unneeded waves in his party. So will white supremacists or far right conservatives that are, I know you don't believe in racism, but what I think is kind of racist. He don't ever say anything against these people, which I think is an issue. But outside of that, him turning a blind eye onto things is one of the biggest issue I have with him.
But listen, what you just said isn't true. He does speak against the people that are attacking the Jews and stuff like that, and he does speak against them really, really quite strongly. So that's a lie that he's turned a blind eye to the so-called white supremacists. He has scolded them. He's told them. There's a famous time when he was on. He's like, I don't like what they're doing, and I'm going to say it right to the camera. Stop it. And so he does speak against. He speaks against all forms of evil and hate. And yeah, I don't believe in white supremacists. There is no such thing as white supremacy. I think that's something that a few whites may think that they're superior, and a whole lot of blacks and others and liberals think that whites are superior. But nobody else, it doesn't really actually exist. There is, and it's not even really a threat. It's only a threat because it's encouraged. The media encourages these people to become like this by constantly attacking them and supporting what they're about, by pretending that they're against them, because the media likes.
People just go along with it, though.
That's
another issue.
Say that again.
People don't. I'm kind of afraid at this point that people don't even think for themselves at this point. Like they just see something on TV and that has to be true.
You know what radicalizes. You know what's radicalized most of these so-called white supremacists is stuff like Black Lives Matter and the media support for it. When Trayvon Martin, when those riots happened after Trayvon Martin was killed in self-defense and they falsely cried murder on George Zimmerman. When Black Lives Matter came out after Michael Brown tried to kill the cop and was killed in self-defense, and the riots happened afterwards, that kind of insanity really makes whites mad, and some of them get radicalized by that. And they're wrong for becoming radicalized and becoming angry, but it's being encouraged by this stuff that Bernie Sanders and all of the Democrats support. So just something to think about, Richard. I appreciate your call, man. I hope to talk to you again.
I want to hold all your time. Thank you, Mr. Hake, and
All right.
I hope I can talk to you again sometime.
By the way, how old are you?
I am 29.
Nice. All right. Appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you again.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. Happy White History Month, by the way.
Happy July.
You don't support White History Month? Hold on. Last quick question.
I don't support any kind of divisive ideology.
But listen.
Like if we want to
listen, Richard.
The country, we need to focus on people who are doing things good for the country.
Do you think Jesse, by instituting White History Month, is trying to divide the country or unite it?
Well, I think he is unwittingly dividing it, because the same thing with Black History Month or any other thing.
I got you. Now, do you realize?
Focus on people who do good.
Do you realize
as Americans who make our country better?
Yeah.
Like, when you say this white person did this or this black person did that or whoever, like you're putting them in a certain group where, like, okay, you basically like this is for you people and not anybody else.
Listen, man.
Like,
listen.
That's divisive.
Okay, listen. My last point. White history is for everybody to celebrate because it's about correcting the record about white people, both present day and past, because there's a smear campaign against white people decades long from history and from today. And there's lies about all the people that are trying to unite the country. For example, the president. He's the most smeared person living today.
Sir. I promise to God, I think you're absolutely right. But at the same time, you got to think about, okay, this whole idea with like Black history and all these
I understand that.
That's happening in America for black people is basically putting people, well, I say black people and minorities, Hispanic or whatever, that you're putting like, you are hated, you are disadvantaged, you are less than, like, you just need to, accept this small little handout, essentially, and just keep on fighting against whitey because they hate you and all this stuff. All this stuff is really divisive. Like, it's dividing the country, like, in a very small way. Like, people don't really think about it.
I understand what you're talking about.
You're propping up somebody else. But at the same time, when you prop up somebody else, you lower yourself. And I think, like, we really need to just focus on this country. Like, I'm American, you're American. Like, a lot of your listeners are American, and we need to focus on America and make, well, like Trump said, make America great again.
Yep. All right, Richard. Nice talking with you, man. Take care.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Bye. Bible go-to guy out of Los Angeles. Sorry, guys. I had to talk with him. He was so interesting for me. All right. Bible go-to guy, go. Are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
James, I can hardly hear you. Boy, once I took you off speakerphone and everything, your volume went way down.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Okay, I have a disagreement with you about the banks.
Okay.
The way it went down is, first of all, the banks were forced to make those bad loans because of Jesse Jackson and whatever organizations he was allied with. They sued, and they won. They got a law made or laws made that forced those banks to make those bad loans.
Yeah, that was Clinton.
Then the government, through the FHA and VA, guaranteed those loans. They said, don't worry about it, bankers.
Yeah.
We'll pay those loans if they go south.
Shameful.
And when the banks came to collect, then all of a sudden the government tries to do this big media thing. Oh, and it was a populist idea. Oh, we shouldn't pay off the bankers. No, you're legally obligated to pay off the bankers.
Wow.
Because those loans are guaranteed.
So that was a bad deal from the start.
Who forced them to make it.
And that was under Clinton, I heard. Was it Clinton or Carter that said every black should own a home?
Yeah, it went way back.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I do remember hearing about that in 07 and stuff.
Yeah, that's why Obama and Bush were forced. Really, they were forced by law to pay off the banks, because the banks would have sued. They would have easily won.
Wow.
And it would have exposed the government even more. And so what they did, they made a big propaganda thing against the banks. Oh, the banks are the bad guys. The banks are greedy and all that kind of stuff. And
okay.
And they were unpatriotic. They should have stood up to it and said, "Hey, no, this is going to ruin. This will bring down the whole banking system," kind of thing.
And all the people that got those loans.
With the easy thing, because they didn't want to be politically incorrect and look like were trying to refuse loans to minorities. That kind of thing. The POC women or whoever else disadvantaged financially because they don't have either the income to afford it or bad credit.
Yeah,
So,
I don't like how people attack the people at the top, but you also have to attack the people who didn't pay back. That's why I appreciate Jesse, because he's like, these blacks weren't paying back their loans, and a whole bunch of others were not paying back their loans. They were getting bad loans, meaning stuff that was rough that they couldn't actually afford to pay back, and then they weren't paying it back. So typical too.
Yeah.
Of society in general, to be honest.
And the other quick point I wanted to make, I believe that guy may have just been a mole. The pastor you were talking about earlier in your show?
This guy this pastor, what's his name? Harris? Something Harris. Joshua Harris, or Josh Harris, who wrote I Kissed Dating Goodbye way back in 1997. You think he was just a mole? Are you a conspiracy theorist?
Because just like the Catholic Church has been infiltrated purposefully by the homosexuals, I think there may be a lot of Manchurian Candidate, pastors going in there and then later renouncing their faith so they can help to weaken and destroy the faith among the ones who are left in the church.
I don't agree, because it doesn't take much. I talked about this with the mass shootings, because a lot of people think every mass shooting is or so many mass shootings.
I'm just saying there's a possibility. I'm not saying, that there's a probability. I'm just saying there's a possibility.
Okay.
It could just be another Manchurian Candidate. Either way, I'm glad he's gone.
Yeah. The stage was set because Christians have become so weak and whites have become so weak that they're just set up, their children are set up to fall for this crap. And so this guy, he was long on the road toward this mess, and like you, I'm glad that it happened, and I hope that maybe Jesse can interview him and pour a little deeper into his background and why he was so weak.
James, I think I heard it on your show, but you made a very, very good point, and you've actually lived that way on the show, is you made a very important distinction between intellectualism and intelligence.
Yeah.
And that has stuck with me, for the many days since you made that distinction.
I got that from the South African guy.
Huh?
I got that from the South African guy last week.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
Simon Roche.
That was mind-blowing.
Yeah. He said that whites
considered that distinction like that.
Yeah, he said whites are told to be made to be intellectuals. They're not allowed to be intelligent. So therefore, you have to stick with political correctness and a bunch of crap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care, Baba Go-To guy. Happy White History Month to you. All right. George, out of New York. George, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing fine. No man is good.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, no man is good.
Yeah.
So I had a question I kind of thought about before, which was, do you think that instinct is an emotion?
No, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of times we can get emotions and then we think, oh, that's my instincts. So it's a vague term that you don't really know, but I don't think instinct is emotion, but I'm not sure.
So in other words, like let's say, because I'm trying to use the analogy, like when let's say you make I don't know if you've ever done this before, but you make a decision whether or not to take a job or something, and perhaps maybe you kind of felt like maybe this was for you, but looking at it just, coldly, it's like, well, maybe it doesn't make as much money, but you somehow, and I put it in quotations, you feel like maybe this is for you, right? So it's an instinct, isn't it? Isn't that like kind of an emotional thing because you're feeling like it's for you?
I'm not sure. It's so hard to tell without experiencing it for yourself, and so it's hard to say. But I will say that a lot of times people get a first impression, and usually that first impression is actually right. Sometimes it's not. But I remember hearing Jesse say the first thought he got, he's been told to go with the first thought as opposed to like thinking about it later. And then there was another time where in the Entrepreneur Academy, one of the entrepreneur guys got this opportunity, and at first he's like, yeah, okay, cool. And then he started thinking about it. He's like, oh man, this opportunity happens to be involved with like a black church, and I don't know if I want to be involved with this. I don't know if I want to be connected with this and all that.
Right.
And so he started to think about it and ponder it and stuff. And then it turned out his first instinct to just go with it, take the opportunity, was right. But he almost undermined himself by thinking about all the negative aspects of normal human beings that don't even represent him. But he felt that, I don't want to be connected to that stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's weird. I mean, I noticed the older I get, the more I'm starting to realize that, the younger I was kind of an idiot. And I kind of just wanted to do things because I fantasized about how cool it would be, not questioning whether or not that's actually something that I'm good at or made to do or even will be happy doing in terms of a career or a job.
Yeah.
So I think like imagination to a certain degree is horrible because you can imagine a totally, it's a total fabrication of a lie.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure you're in like, I guess the West Coast, so I'm sure there's people that want to work in movies and be actors and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And, but that, it's like, there's probably imagining, wow, my life would be so cool if all these people take my picture and they all love me. But they don't stop to think, is this actually for me? Am I even made for this? Do I even really care? Or am I trying to fill up some sort of emotional hole, a void?
Yeah.
Perhaps I don't believe in a God or had some, trauma or something. So, which wouldn't be surprising because maybe that's why there are so many entertainers that they end up killing themselves. They have all this money, so-called fame,
right,
and they're not happy. So it's like, it's like maybe that's what it was. You just went with your imagination because, people say you could be whatever you want, but you can, but that doesn't mean that it's for you. I don't know.
I know for a fact that people believe their imaginations as fact. Like they can easily imagine such and such happening, or people make up lies. I witness it like all the time about Jesse and about me and stuff like that, about stuff that they think that I do or have. Like I saw one guy, one of the snakes in the grass, said, "Oh, James is obeying his Jewish masters." He said that yesterday, and I'm like, "Where are you getting this?" And people believe stuff. Or they'll make stuff up. And sometimes they're eyewitnesses. And they know that, or they should know, that what they're saying is false, made up from their imagination, but they're stating it as fact. And it is it's kind of surprising to see, but it's kind of eye-opening to see that people can just lie. And I think it comes from their imagination. And then there's a whole lot of other people with the same imagination, same mindset, that will corroborate and start spreading the rumors.
Mm-hmm.
so it's pretty interesting that
Yeah,
people can
yeah,
think,
it's,
oh,
I think that's kind of one of the issues just in this whole kind of situation that the country is in, which is, I think, see, the problem is we can't actually look into each individual's heart
yeah,
and know for sure. We're not like God. However, I do think if you listen to how people speak on a continual basis, you will pick up little pieces of their psychology. You'll pick up little things slip through that show you, that peek into their mind,
definitely.
more or less what they talk about. So
Yep.
but that's the major issue. If everybody could look into each other's hearts, there would be no mess. But unfortunately, people lie, and people perpetually lie, and also people. It's like you had a caller, maybe two callers back, where it was like you asked them, would you vote for Trump in 2020? The fact that he hesitated, I already knew the answer was no.
Right.
Because he
Yep.
hesitated. I didn't have to say. If
Right.
somebody goes, well, and then you hear that pause, that means no.
Right. Yeah.
Right? But he's just trying to make some story, like, well, but this, and blah, blah, blah. No, the answer is no.
Yeah. But he seemed like a sincere guy too. But you're right. Like there is a whole lot, and you can tell when people are. You can really tell sometimes when people are fake. You just pick up on it, and you can tell when somebody's genuine. Most of the time too.
Yeah,
I mean, there are some people who are better at deceiving than others. But I mean, look at Trump.
That's true. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why like even let's say like you or Jesse, like I like listening to Jesse, and like even like my I listen to it's most people, like I think that I know around me would get offended by Jesse.
Yeah.
But for some reason I don't get offended because first of all, I think that he has some sort of innate humor in his style of interviewing and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think humor is like really great because that's a great way to talk about maybe a little bit, issues that perhaps aren't comfortable. But if you put it with a little slice of humor, it kind of is nice in a way, right? And I like that.
It's more than just humor. It's like he's good. He's legitimately good-natured. And
right. So,
and it's funny too because when you're in the confrontation with him, you may not pick up on that, but later you see it, and everybody else can see it. Like when he's confronting Billy about the headphones being all messed up, I was cracking up. But I could imagine if I were in that situation as Billy, I would be like wild-eyed and under pressure and annoyed. But after the fact, if Billy were to watch it, I bet you'd be cracking up because but you realize how funny it is, and it's
the
good
little
nature.
things. It's the cadence, the style of speaking, the looks that he gives. These kind of things, like it all works, and the fact that he's a much older gentleman, so he's been around. I tell people that, like, listen, you might not like what he has to say, but listen, the guy's been around.
Yeah.
I don't think he's just pulling things from thin air. So
nope.
Let's listen to the man. Most people, they're like, what, 21, 30, the people that are around me. I'm like, guys, he lived a life. Let's hear what he has to say. You just stop getting offended at everything this guy said. Just calm down, listen to the man, and then, agree or disagree. But that's really the major issue, is just that even now, for some reason, like, I had friends who will not answer simple yes or no question.
Right.
Because we bring up the simple thing, like, is it legal? Is it right? This is the word, underline the word right. Is it right to break the law coming into a country illegally? Should you do that? Then they're going to pull out, but they're coming from other countries. That's not what I asked you. Is it right to break the law? It's very simple. Yes or no. And then they'll say, yeah, but they're not answering the question, right?
Yeah.
So,
you know what? There was an interview that I was, as a listener to the Jesse Show, in like 2008, 09, 10, 11, something like that, where Jesse asked that same question to an illegal alien, pro-illegal alien person. Prior to this, I was like, let them stay. They're here. And I remember when I came to church one time, somebody asked him about illegals, and he said, they all have to go back. And so I was like, maybe he's wrong about that part, but I still like him for the spiritual stuff. And then, like, when he said it, just like how you said it, is it right? When he broke it down to pure right and wrong. It's like the perfect question. And she dodged all around it. And that woke me up, and I realized, man, these illegals do need to go back. It's not good for them to stay here, and it's wrong. And so you're right. When he broke it down to simple right versus wrong, that's when I got back into politics, really, because prior to that I was like,
Yeah, that's what intellectuals, like you said earlier, that's what they do. They'll try to use all these words and terms and all this kind of thing without just answering yes or no.
Yep.
And dancing around the question. So to me, people say, well, I have a degree in this and that. That doesn't mean anything to me anymore. It has absolutely no bearing.
Yep.
You know?
If anything, it's a negative.
Yeah.
If anything, it's a strike against them.
It is. Yeah, it is, because then you come out of this building and you have this false idea of yourself, like, okay, well, I remembered all these terms and I passed this exam and I got this piece of paper. I'm about $100,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And I know what the world is like. So suddenly, magically, at the age of 21 and 22, I know everything works. Therefore, everybody should kneel before me because I'm the second coming of Christ. It's utter nonsense.
Yeah, I'm remembering back to like the way I treated women, and I had no idea what I was doing.
No, but at least I could admit that I had humility. I knew when I got out of college, I'm a dumbass. I knew it. I said, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I knew that, and I also always knew when I was doing right and when I was doing wrong. However, in the past, I would ignore it or use some word or say, well, everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
So, but I always knew. I will admit that. I always knew. There's no question. I know between right and wrong. I just ignored it.
Right on, man.
But,
hey, I got to go,
anyway.
George, but I appreciate your call.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
man. Appreciate
Happy
it.
White History Month to you, too.
Happy White History Month. Take care.
All right, bye. Robert, first time... Oops. Beta fingers. Robert, first time caller out of Phoenix, Arizona. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Hey, I have a question for you. You were talking about what's right and wrong.
Yeah.
And so my question is about Jesse, because you said that his taxes go to pay these illegal immigrants and whatnot.
Yeah.
And everything like that. But there is illegal immigrants that do work and contribute to society, and they never collect back from society, such as Social Security and whatnot.
They collect back a little bit.
No, they don't. They can't collect Social Security back.
I don't know about Social Security, but they get their tax money back.
No, they don't get it back.
Yeah, they do.
Don't get it back.
No, yes, I know for a fact they do. I've worked with illegals, and after tax day.
For one thing,
they go back and get their tax money back. So yes, they do get their money back.
For one thing, I worked for that agency, so I know for a fact they don't.
I know for a fact they do. So I've worked with illegals, and they do get their money back.
To eliminate the argument, because you're saying they do, but to eliminate the argument, because we're going to go back and forth on this, Jesse himself gets a tax break under 501, right, for having a church. And so he doesn't pay taxes into that out of the money
bond does not pay taxes. Yeah, it's a church.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yet he talks about he participates in political campaigning and stuff like that. Yet
as an individual, he does. He has a right to as an individual.
That is one thing.
And it's also, to be honest, it's a freedom of speech issue. Because churches should be allowed to be involved in politics. To be honest,
it specifies that he is.
Yeah, it's a bad law. It's a bad law.
Okay, well then he's breaking the law, though.
No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not.
You can look up the code yourself. You can look up the code.
No, he's not, Robert.
Oh my God!
So you lied about two things now. You're that Mexican guy. You're that Mexican guy who said Jesse Jackson kicked your A. You're that Mexican guy.
See, every time I catch you guys,
I gotta go, man. Jesse, out of North Carolina. How you doing, Jesse?
Hey, buddy, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah. Can you hear me?
Hey, happy White History Month.
Thank you, man.
Hey, I just had a quick question before my real question.
Okay.
I noticed everyone is asking about Jesse. Do you mind?
Go for it.
Answering endless questions about Jesse, or
you can ask me if I don't know, or if I don't want to answer, I won't.
Okay. I just had a question about different denominations and
okay.
And how do you know which ones to avoid and which ones are right?
You know, there's decent individual churches amongst, I would imagine, amongst many of the denominations. For example, the Quakers, the Friends Church, is known to be a very liberal church. But I went to a church that was actually quite conservative, and it was like a decent church. I ended up coming to Jesse's church because I liked it better. It's more direct. The men were leading. More men were leading. The women weren't. But I felt that it was a decent church, and I would go to there if I weren't going to Bond, if Bond didn't exist somehow. So I couldn't really tell you, but I know that, for example, amongst the Presbyterian church, there are ones that are pro-gay, and this is just a symptom. And then there are ones that don't support homosexuality. So it's like there's a whole lot of corruption amongst all human beings, practically.
Sure, yeah.
And all churches are becoming more and more and more corrupt. So I know that the Methodists, Hillary is a Methodist, if that tells you anything. And there's like Unitarians, which don't seem Christian at all. There's United Methodist Church. Those tend to be like liberal preachers. Like if I see that somebody's a preacher of that, I'll be like, hey, this would be a good guest for the radio show because they're, probably liberals. And so, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any specific denominations that you're wondering about?
Not really. I wanted to know what Jesse's denomination was, or if he's non-denominational.
Okay. Yeah, he's non-denominational Christian. He was raised Baptist, so that's what he knew growing up. And yeah, back then, like, they were fine, but there was something wrong because a whole lot of the black community was Baptist, and look at them now. They're not very Christian. They may go to church, but they're not real Christians. And then the whites, you can't really say much better for them either because they're so weak. So even the conservative, so-called conservative churches are really weak, and it's a shame. But yeah, he's non-denominational Christian.
So I grew up Baptist as well, and most people in the South, I think, at least conservatives in the South, grew up Baptist too. I love Jesse to death. I love you, but I disagree with one thing he's been saying.
All right.
I called in last week and I talked to him about it. And I asked him if he believes Jesus is God.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up believing Jesus is God in the flesh.
That's funny because he grew up Baptist, right? Hold on. He grew up Baptist, and then he was never told that Jesus is God. Jesus was always the Son of God.
Right. That is correct. But Jesus is the Son of God and God, according to the Trinity.
According to the Trinity, but not really according to the Bible. There's some verses that people assume to know what it means, and so they take it from that and then say that means that Jesus is God. But to me, you can ask. It's honestly better asking Jesse about it because I can't really speak for him. And do you know Jesus?
Do I know Jesus?
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to think that I do, yeah. But I've never seen him in person. I get what you're saying.
One quick last question. Do you sin?
Sorry, say that again?
Do you sin?
Do I sin? Yes, I do.
Because according to the Bible, anyone who sins has neither seen him nor known him. And that's what the Bible says. And so it's more important to know and live as Jesus told us to, than to quibble about who Jesus is before you really know him. You know what I mean? There's a whole lot of judgment going on about intellectual knowledge versus actually living it. And Jesse's about living it. He's real. He's genuine. So if there's a disagreement, I recommend suspending judgment for the time being. Say maybe Jesse's wrong, but I'm gonna hang with the truth. All right, Jesse, I gotta go, man. The song is over.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Have a good one.
All right. See you guys. Be back tomorrow, and make sure that you ignore the Democrat debates. Watch Jesse Lee Peterson YouTube channel. We're going to premiere another 1992 episode, Entrepreneurship for Blacks, and all races can learn from it too. Thanks, guys. Take care.